Welcome to the Life After Sugar podcast, the podcast that's not just about sugar, but about your relationship with it and also with food and especially with yourself. So if you want to discover your life after sugar and hear inspiring stories from all kinds of people who also cut out sugar in their way, at their pace, for their own reasons, this is the podcast for you. Because when you take away the sugar, you can finally discover the real sweetness in your life. My name is Netta Gorman, and today I'm speaking with Mario Carrier. Mario, as you probably guessed, is French-speaking from Quebec, and he's a coach for the Clinique Reversa in Quebec, which, amongst other things, reverses diabetes with a low-carb and keto diet. Just before we get into our little chat, I'd like to invite you to visit my website, aftersugarclub.com, where you'll find lots of free resources to help you start or continue to reduce sugar. You can also find information about gut health and fermented foods there. And I invite you to download my simple guide to getting more energy with less sugar. You can find that on my website, aftersugarclub.com. You can also find all of the podcast episodes there at aftersugarclub.com/podcast. And that's where you can also download my 5 tips to help you with cravings. And if you're wondering what a sugar-free person eats, follow my Instagram account at MyLifeAfterSugar and my daily lives on the Life After Sugar Facebook page. All right, let's have a chat with Mario. Can you tell me a little bit about you and your life before you made this change in your diet?
I've always been very aware of the weight loss problem and the weight loss program, and for myself, I've always been a sport guy. I played hockey all my life. I played basketball when I was young, ran a lot, except after a few around 20 years. I couldn't run anymore because my knee are bad. But so I was always an active guy. I didn't know at that moment, but when I was a young kid, we were basically almost eating keto, low carb at least, because everything on the table was a lot of meat, a lot of very fat meat, and we were encouraged to by my parents to eat fat, and we were even fighting for the fat. Me and my brother, we were fighting for the fat and do in stews and stuff like that. And so and a plate at my house when I was young, a plate was a big chunk of meat, of fat, and a few vegetables. Okay, and even my father used to eat. First of all, there was no margarine in my house; it was butter. And my father used to cut a big chunk of butter and put it in his plate. And each bite he took, it was a piece of butter, a piece of meat, and a few potatoes, and that was a bite, and it was going through his plate like that. So we didn't knew about low carb at that moment when I was young. And even if I ate like that also, I was skinny, I was muscular, and I kept like that until I move in with my ex, which was she's the mother of my children. So and what I realized after a few years is that at her house it was the opposite. They were eating pasta. They were eating. First of all, they were eating about six, seven times a day. There were lunch, and we didn't have that at my house. There was the dinner, there was the supper, and there were no snack in between. It doesn't exist, and we didn't ask for it first of all, and but even if we would have asked, it wasn't an option.
Yeah.
You
So
got
no snacks, but
no.
just what, 3 meals a day?
Oh, yeah, 3 meals a day. And if you wanted to go, if you weren't hungry, it wasn't a problem. You go, you won't die, first of all. And if you didn't like what was on the plate, it was the same. You won't die, you won't eat. And at her house, my ex girlfriend, they were eating a lot of potato, and meat was an option. So, and when we did move in together, uh, she was in charge of the meals. So she reproduced exactly what you know from her house, and I didn't realize at that moment, but that probably when I started to gain weight a little bit. But since I was so active, and it wasn't that bad. But as the years passed by, I slowly wasn't as active as I used to be. It's normal, you go to, you're getting older and you're moving a little bit less, and I was gaining weight until I went up to 265 pounds. And I'm 6 foot tall, so 265 pounds. That's a lot of weight for me.
And how did that make you feel?
Surprise, first of all. I got first of all surprised, and surprised because I wasn't fat because we were eating at McDonald's all the time and all stuff like that. Because like I told you, my ex-girlfriend, she was always eating healthy. She was always following some kind of diet, to try to lose the weight and stuff. And I was eating exactly the same as her. So if she was doing Weight Watchers, I was eating Weight Watchers. If and but most of those diet are low fat or carb, and I didn't realize that. And I was also stuck in that thinking of what I learned when I was young, that if you want to lose the weight, it's the SICO, calorie in, calorie out motto. If you want to lose the weight, you need to burn more than you eat. So I was telling her, move more, eat less, and I was doing exactly that also for me.
And that approach took you to
Yeah,
265 pounds.
exactly. It did. So, and we were eating a lot of vegetables, yogurt. We were eating the low fat, the zero fat yogurt, and all that stuff. So we were eating healthy. We thought at that moment. So I started asking myself, I don't know, I don't understand why I'm at 265. So I said, maybe I don't move enough. So bought a new bike, start moving, and played more hockey and stuff like that. And so the weight went down to 235. And I did stay at that weight for a while, and it was okay. And after a few years, uh, the weight started to go up again, and but the activity level didn't change. So I said, that's weird. I'm doing exactly the same thing. Maybe I'm eating more. I don't know. But I was getting older, and so I tried to increase what my activity level, decrease the amount of food I was eating, and then that's when thing went a little bit south
Mhm.
because the weight started to go up faster this way, and and now the health went bad.
In what way? Because I mean, there's the weight, but there's other stuff than weight that can affect your health, right? So what kind of health issues did you have?
First of all, for me, the first symptom I had was I started to have a back pain, and at at first I thought that it was my back going old, but it wasn't in the center of the back. It was more on the right of the back, on my back, and it was strange. Sometimes in the morning I got up and my back was hurting, and I bought a brand new mattress because I thought maybe it's the bad mattress, but so, and each time I went to see a doctor about it, it would send me to get X-rays, and it told me that everything was fine. Almost, I was crazy. And then 5 years ago, I was about 46, and my back problem went very, very bad. I was, sometimes I was walking, but with a hunch. I wasn't able to, be straight, and now it was affecting my legs, and I talked about that with one of my friends who told me, a few years ago I was like you, and I went to a doctor, and after a scan of his liver, he told me that he was having a non-alcoholic fatty liver. Your liver, it's a big organ, and it goes under your rib cage, and when the liver gets inflated, it push on the ribs, on the lower ribs, and that make a pressure on your ribs that it's connected to your spine, and that's where the back pain comes from. So, and when he told me that, and he told me, I'm pretty sure that your pain is not on the spine but on the right side of your spine. I told him, exactly, it's exactly that. And and then a few things started to compute in my head, and because I said, yeah, sometimes when I eat some stuff, but I didn't know what, but if I eat some stuff, the pain is bigger in the morning, the next morning. That's when uh, I started to think that it was what I was eating that was producing that pain.
Because
So
no doctor had ever asked you, what are you eating, right?
no, 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 no. That wasn't a thing. It wasn't a thing. So so I said to myself, okay, so now I'm pretty sure I have a liver problem, and and I didn't have access to a family doctor. I didn't want to go to an emergency doctor with that. So I said to myself, what can I do for my liver? And I said, fruits are good for your health. I'm going to try something. Fruit are good for the liver. So I'm going to start eating only fruit for a while and see what happens. Only fruit.
Whole fruit or
Yeah,
juice fruit
no, no,
or
no, no, all fruit.
whole
All
fruit?
fruit. So I was making myself in the morning, dinner, and supper a bowl of mixed fruit, all fresh fruits, apple and bananas and strawberry and all that, different fruit. And I started to eat that, and wow, that experience didn't go well. Oh no, the my health went south, but 100 kilometers an hour. Oh
And
no,
why was that? Why would such healthy food like fruit
yeah.
make your health go so much worse?
At that moment, I didn't knew, but now I understand. Fruit, the main sugar in fruits is fructose, and fructose is the worst fruit, the worst sugar. I'm sorry, worst sugar for your liver, because the liver is the only organ that can metabolize fructose. And so even if normally when you eat one apple, the apple comes with the fiber, and and you don't absorb all that sugar very fast and all that stuff. But my liver was so sick that even eating uh, fruits, and all fruit, not juice, because juice, a glass of juice from fruit is as bad as a glass of Coke. Even it's even worse, because there's a little bit more fructose in a glass of juice than into a Coke. So, and my liver was so bad that I started to see the effect on my brain. My brain was getting foggy. When your liver start to uh, not function, or function badly, the first thing that you're gonna see is that your brain gets foggy. You don't get all the what the liver produce, all the hormones that the liver produce, that your brain needs. And that's when I realized that everything that I thought was right about nutrition, about health, about all that stuff, everything was garbage. Everything was garbage. It wasn't calorie in, calorie out. It wasn't. It Everything was about hormones. And so when I did some research about Jason Fung, I saw that he just wrote a book called the Obesity Code. When you go to schools and they teach you some things, and you realize after a while that it doesn't work like that. Well, you don't tell yourself that you were stupid. You just, I got a bad teacher, and or that teacher wasn't a bad teacher, but he taught me some stuff that he thought that at that moment were true.
Yeah.
And then science evolved, and
I mean, because science changes, but the human body, human biology hasn't changed.
no, exactly. So because I have a good background in science, the first thing I like about the book is at the end there's about 500 scientific citation, and so Dr. Fong didn't just write a book like that, out of the blue, and it wasn't just an hypothesis. It was based on very good, very solid science. And
How come? So it's like, how come he's the first scientist to give this information that
yeah,
goes completely? That's the completely opposite to what every other scientist has told us for the last 60 years.
yeah, exactly. And so I went to research the history of nutrition. The lobbying that's been done, the lobbying about sugar. That's when I learned about Dr. Yutkins also, the book he wrote in the 70s. And Dr. Fong he's not a keto guy. He's more about fasting. Yeah, for sure, you need to lower your carbs. But at that moment, keto wasn't a thing. And then my research brought me to the low carb world. And the low carb world at that moment brought me to the keto world. And but there was no Facebook group at that moment about keto. There was no except a few Americans one. There was nothing in French. So and it
Did you
was
get a test to check your liver, or did you just
not
know it?
at that moment. So I started to monitor all that stuff. Started to do low carb by my own.
And how did
And
you know? How did you know what to eat?
but first, what I wanted to tell you, it was to answer it was when I quit sugar, and like I told you, I was more of a salty tooth than a sweet tooth. I started shaking, and my hand were shaking like a drug addict and it did that for 2 weeks, and that's when I realized how addict I was about sugar.
Even
And
if you weren't eating that much sugar.
yeah,
Or-
but what I realized after is I was eating sugar. I wasn't just not eating the sugar, the white stuff, but nobody will tell you except if you go and eat at McDonald's all the time. They're gonna say, "Oh yeah, okay, McDonald's that not healthy, so you're gonna get sick eventually if you do that all your life, you know." But even that message is not very popular. So you get sick, that's normal, that's life. And you go see your doctors about that, you know. Is it because of the food you eat? Nah.
Yeah.
But if you're fat, you can be healthy fat.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter. It's not necessarily bad for your health to be fat, you know. And it's another thing, because if you're fat, it's not because you're not healthy, it's because you're lazy.
Oh, that's the message that we get.
Yeah, exactly. You're lazy. You don't, you're sitting on your couch all day. You're, watching TV with a bag of potato chip, and that's
Yeah.
why you're fat.
But I
That's
mean,
why.
you never did that and you still got fat.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm the exception. And
Ah.
even so, everybody was telling me, nah, you don't move enough. It's really not. Or you must eat bad things sometimes. It's the ice cream that you eat, or it was always what I was eating or not doing. So and everybody says that. So if you're fat, you go to see a dietitian, and she's gonna or he's gonna teach you how to eat, not to get fat. And then you go to a trainer, and he's gonna tell you how to burn all those calories that you're gonna eat, and the healthy calories that you. But that's only if you're fat. Because if you're sick, if you have a fatty liver, your doctor will give you a prescription of metformin, for example.
Metformin. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly, metformin. And that's the only pill that he can give you. Okay, and he might tell you, eat less fat and move more, because he thinks that the fat you're eating makes your liver fat. Okay,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's biology 101. Take a
Yeah.
duck.
And you would have thought that, myself as an English teacher, yourself as a computer programmer, we wouldn't know that stuff, or that the doctor would, at least.
Yep.
How
Yeah.
come we know that stuff and how come our doctors don't?
That I really don't know. And
Mm.
I think that it's the bad message out there.
Yeah, I get it. And so can you tell me how you're feeling now that you've been eating low carb or keto for what, 4 years, 5 years?
5 years now.
5 years.
I lost 65 pounds in 8 months. Kept the weight off. After a year, after a year, I had my liver scan, and it came out almost perfect after a year. I did a follow up a year after, and my liver was brand new. There was
Wow,
no trace of fat inside of it.
amazing.
My blood pressure now is 120 over 80
Right.
all the time.
Hmm.
Uh, my blood glucose is perfect almost all the time. And something's funny happened about 2 years ago. 2 years ago, because I'm very active on the keto group, and I work as a part-time job right now for the Clinique Reversa, which is a clinic in Montreal, in Contrecoeur actually, where we treat people with type 2 diabetes. We reverse their condition with low carb ketogenic diet and intermittent fasting and prolonged fasting for the one who wants to do that. And the 1st of January 2 years ago, Dr. Ken Berry, who is medical doctor in the state, who is very active on Facebook and Instagram also, he did a challenge. He challenged us through the internet to try to do a carnivore diet for a month. And so I decided to, because uh, since I was reading a lot about low carb, I did stumble about at one point on the carnivore diet, and since I've always been quite of a carnivore myself, I do love meat. I said, I'm gonna try that, but I never tried it very strict. So I kept the olive oil, the coconut oil, and stuff like that, and after a week or two, I didn't feel great. So I quit the carnivore. But when Dr. Berry did his challenge, I said to myself, if you're gonna try that, you're gonna try it very strict. And so I did. I did for 30 days. And after 30 days, I felt amazing. And so I said, I'm gonna try it for another month, and so on. And after 6 months, even if the 1st of January 2018, my weight was 175 pounds. 6 months after, my weight was 175 pounds. But something did change. My waist, I was the last pair of jeans that I bought was 34. And after 6 months, I went to buy the same brand, same model, exactly the same jeans, and I bought 30.
So your weight didn't change, but your waist went
Yeah,
down 4 inches?
it did exactly.
Isn't
Yeah,
that amazing?
it
Wow.
it it was amazing. So I lost a lot of fat around the belly area, the very bad fat, and my weight didn't went down because first of all, I'm still very active. I'm more active than I was 5 years ago. I do a lot of cycling, and I do train and stuff like that. I started running again because even if my knees are bad, since I'm in ketosis, I don't have, and I have lost weight. I don't have the pain I used to have when I was running before. So I was able to resume running again. When I tell people I only eat meat, the first thing that comes up is, yeah, but what about all the vitamins in vegetables? And and I tell them there's a lot of vitamins. All those vitamins are in meat, and not only are they there, they're more bioavailable to you.
just to finish up, tell me about your brain. Is it unfogged now?
My brain is very light up now. That's the first symptom that went away, and it did when I started to fast. And I saw that. It's you see the fog comes in when you eat sugar, and you see the fog comes out when you stop eating them, and even more when you fast. It's very, very, very effective.
Well, I tell you, your brain is certainly functioning very well. You did all of this interview in English.
I did.
Amazing. And in my professional opinion as an English teacher, you rock.
I love you. Thanks. And for anyone who needs medical advice or medical support, there is the Clinique Reversa in Quebec. And now you don't have to go physically to the clinic anymore. Everything can be done online with Dr. Evelyne Bourgeois-Roy, which is a pioneer in the low carb, high fat approach in Quebec, and the fasting method also. In the clinicreversa.com. I hope your listeners will like the interview.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure they will. And thank you so much. Thank you for taking the time to talk to me.
It was a very, very, very high pleasure for me.
Thank you.
Merci, Mario. Isn't it amazing how we're all so different? And yet one thing that unites most of us, at least, is that when we stop eating sugar, we all feel better. And if you want to have more energy, more mental clarity, better concentration, less inflammation, and far less risk of getting a fatty liver, then you can download my simple guide to help you reduce sugar on my website, aftersugarclub.com. And if you enjoyed this episode and find that this podcast is helping you in your life after sugar, scroll down and leave me a review and let me know how it's helping you. Thank you for listening. That's it for this week. Keep in touch and see you soon for another episode.